episode 523 of Good Luck High Five.
That's right. You're listening to a podcast that's for you if you play Magic the Gathering, and especially if you are heading out to your Phyrexia All Will Be One pre-release this weekend.
Yes, we're so excited. We've got Judge Rob in the studio today to give you the lowdown on all of the Phyrexia All Will Be One rules, mechanics, tricky card interactions, and we're so happy you're here. I'm one of your hosts, Maria.
I'm another one of your hosts, Megan.
And like we said, we're talking Phyrexia All Will Be One rules today. Everyone loves a Judge Rob episode.
Everyone does. We are also going to follow up on the conspiracy from the Upkeep yesterday about what is the 7th layer in a 7-layer bar.
Yeah.
The answer will shock you.
Yeah, you all.
That's not just my clickbait headline. You're legitimately going to be distressed
in shock right now
by the 7th layer in a 7-layer bar.
I mean, okay, so if you didn't go listen to the Upkeep, go listen to it. You'll hear our discussion about it. It's only 10 minutes, everybody.
It's only 10 minutes.
There's a lot of news, quite honestly.
There's a ton of news, but most importantly, we get down to business about what's in a 7-layer bar.
It was shocking.
It really was.
Can't get over it. So we're so excited that you're here. We hope you head out to your LGS because that's where it is going to be before Arena, everyone. So
yeah,
LGS number 1.
So exciting.
Then on Arena. So Arena's February 7th and then the release is on the 10th. That's how it works this time around. And Phyrexia All Will Be One looks like really sweet.
It looks really, really cool.
Super
and if
excited.
you're like, wow, there's some really complicated interactions. Yes, there always are. But don't worry. That's why Judge Rob is here.
And you might have noticed too, our studio is going through some changes.
Yes.
You could call it puberty.
You could also not. And I think I would personally encourage you to like really not call it that. But you could call it anything else.
This is not done yet, everybody. So like, don't be like, what's with your new set? It doesn't look right because it's not done. Okay. It's not done. Hopefully next week it'll be in ship shape. But it's part of a new video series that we're working on, these upgrades. So, you know, just think about that. Get excited. Get excited. But before we kick off our show today, huge thank you to everybody who made this new set and everything that we do possible over on patreon.com/GLHF Magic.
Yes, and thank you especially to new patrons Bo and Doug.
Yay!
Thank you, Bo and Doug, so much for becoming new patrons this month. This past week. We so appreciate it. This episode is yours.
It's your episode.
For you.
I love these names, Bo and Doug. I wish my name was Bo.
So you can go and claim whichever part of this episode that you want to be yours specifically.
Yeah, the Discord is a happening place for our patrons.
Yeah.
If you're a patron at any dollar amount, you get access to our Discord. One of our new patrons, I think, pledged in their local currency too.
Yes, they did.
Which I wanted to say, you can do that.
You can do that.
So if you're like, oh, USD is too expensive, well, you can pledge in your local currency and that's fine.
Exactly.
You can also buy a year up front for a discount.
Wow.
We're so
sick.
excited. Yeah. Everybody who bought a playmat through our playmat drive, now the international ones have also now all gone out. So begin the praying.
Begin the praying.
This
your fingers.
Is time to start. So thank you, everybody. And if you're not a patron, we'd love you to join our family. It just makes you feel so much better. If you're like, I'm kind of having a bad day, become a patron of people that you like and whose content you consume. And I guarantee you just be like, I feel actually like 10 to 20% better.
Yeah.
Because you're just supporting people whose content you love.
Thank you also to our sponsor, Card Kingdom, cardkingdom.com/GLHF, the perfect place to go for your Phyrexia All Will Be One pre-order.
Yes, get yourself a box.
They also have a great blog, which is one of the many amazing things that they do. They have stuff like Phyrexia All Will Be One Commander set review.
Oh, cool.
Is up on their blog right now. Phyrexia All Will Be One Modern Highlights.
All right.
Phyrexia All Will Be One Standard Highlights. So if you're wondering, hey, how are these cards going to affect some of the formats that I play in, you can go and take a look at their blog.
You can also sell your cards to Card Kingdom. We don't really talk about that much, but like I've been thinking about it. I'm like, I've got a lot of cards that I haven't moved recently because there haven't been GPs. That's when I would sell them. Generally was at GPs. So I'm like, I've got a little backlog here that I need to be selling. I think I'll go through Card Kingdom. So check them out, cardkingdom.com/GLHF. Hey everybody, welcome Judge Rob to the show for the Phyrexian All Will Be One rules episode.
Yay!
Let's get made out of teeth, Rob. What do you say?
So I've had dental work in my life. I've got like a half crown. Not a huge fan of teeth. Like,
yeah, true.
Yeah, that's fair.
Do have to say,
Yeah, just not in generally, just not a huge fan of teeth.
Yeah, it's just
Not being where they're not supposed to
right,
be.
being where they're not supposed to be.
being where they're not. I like my teeth in my mouth, and that's
Yeah, and I like other
That's
people's
that.
teeth in their mouths.
yes, exactly.
Yes, absolutely. Rob, normally we start these episodes with you with a PSA, but first
do.
we have a question for you.
Yeah.
What do you think the 7th layer of a 7-layer bar is?
So counting bottom up or top down?
Okay.
Well, you can tell us about a 7-layer bar from the bottom up.
Bottom up.
Okay, so the bottom layer has to be a crust of some variety, right? Like a graham cracker crust, maybe.
That is correct.
Okay,
Yep, got it.
And then I don't know. We're gonna do a fancy one, maybe like a chocolate layer,
Yes,
like a
that is-
marshmallow layer,
Oh.
right? Like would you put a marshmallow layer in something?
I would.
I would.
Yeah.
Right? So you have like a graham cracker crust and then a chocolate layer, then a marshmallow layer, some kind of like like a chocolate chip cookie style layer, maybe.
Oh, cookie layer. Nice.
A cookie layer.
This is getting harder to make by the minute.
Well, no, I mean,
This is sounding really good, though. I would eat this.
Yeah.
right, and then like fudge, maybe
Okay, fudge
Wow.
layer.
fudge. Okay, so that's 5.
Are you just naming all the desserts you know of?
No.
There's
I know a lot of
there's a
desserts.
cake layer.
Yeah. Well, because like I'm not going to add it. Like, there's not going to be a red velvet layer. This is going to be a dense 7-layer bar. It's not going to be like there's no fluffiness in here, right?
Okay, here's the
Yeah.
conspiracy.
Okay.
We're going to let
Okay.
you in on this.
Okay.
I'm going to tell you about the classic 7-layer bar.
Okay.
This is
All
the
right, this is
official
everyone's
recipe.
recipe of a 7-layer bar. The
Okay.
graham cracker layer. That's like,
Yep.
like
Yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
bottom crispy layer. Chocolate chips, butterscotch chips,
Sure.
coconut,
Ooh. Okay. Continue.
That's in
chopped
there.
nuts, and sweetened condensed milk.
Sweetened condensed milk.
We have arrived at the end of the official layers. There are 6.
Are you supposed to frost it?
No.
No.
People are over here being like, oh, the butter that you put in the graham cracker crumbs counts as its own
No,
layer.
that's just a binding
I
agent. That's
know.
like saying the eggs that you use in the cookie layer would count as a layer, right?
Exactly. Or that like when you make
Yes,
cookies,
Rob.
you're making scrambled eggs and dough.
I mean, my brother and I joke about this every once in a while. We do things like
No, if you say we put scrambled eggs on our chocolate chip cookies, you are going to leave this
no.
studio.
What did we call ketchup? We called ketchup cold tomato gravy.
Well, yeah,
Oh, hey,
that's what it is.
Right. So we joke about like crossover food names that
Yeah.
are descriptive but aren't what you would think. Like cereal's a soup kind of stuff, right?
Yeah, cereal's
Yeah,
a soup.
cereal
I would
is a
agree
soup.
with that. So anyway, everybody, this is all carried over from the Upkeep earlier today when we discovered the
Exactly.
horror that a 7-layer bar is actually 6 layers.
So if you
Truly
want to tell us your
shocking.
conspiracy theory for what the 7th removed layer
That nobody talks about.
that nobody talks about in a 7-layer bar, let us know down in the comments. I want to know the secret 7th layer.
So
Or
weird.
tweet at us with the hashtag 7-layer conspiracy.
Yes. But Rob, back
Yes.
to the
All right,
Back
yes.
to this.
back to business.
Back to magic.
So what's your PSA?
My PSA. So, Phyrexia All Be One is a set that's all about transgressive stuff, and it has a lot of body horror, including as we mentioned, teeth.
Teeth. Yeah, yep, accurate.
And so there's going to be a lot of like this
Teeth.
came up in Eldritch Moon as well, where there's just a lot of like people having like weird things happen to them that is kind of horrifying, right?
Yeah, man.
And it's okay to not want to look at these things. It is also
Play blindfolded.
Yes, play blindfolded, or just like you can avoid looking at things, right?
Yeah.
But sometimes if you are playing with a friend and you aren't bothered by something, because like most body horror stuff doesn't get me that much.
Are you a Cronenberg
nice.
fan?
No, it's fine, but it doesn't usually squick me.
Yeah.
It like people manipulating eyes. I went to see an eye surgery that somebody
went to see an eye
no,
surgery?
my buddy was getting laser eye surgery, and he asked me to drive him, right, because he couldn't drive afterwards.
Yeah.
I mean,
And so it turns out they put the surgery up on giant monitors out in the
No,
waiting room, and I was like,
no,
"Do you have a not
Whoa,
giant eye surgery
no.
waiting room?"
Sick.
They said, we do have a non-giant eye surgery
Wow.
waiting room. And I said, great, I'm going to wait in that one. And this is my PSA is people are going to get weirded out or squicked by different things, right? It's
Squicked.
Yeah. And so just, you don't force them to like here, look at my card with all of these extra bonus weird teeth on it, right? Like, you don't have to. Like, if they say they don't want to look at it, don't force them to. They get to have fun their way. You get to have fun your way, and like, let people be like, sorry, this person with extra elbows I don't know why, gets me weird.
Rob,
I really love that I still am thinking about that eye surgery.
From that.
They're like, oh yes, we have 2 waiting rooms. One if you would like to watch, and one if you don't want to watch.
One of them was basically the pre-surgery prep room. They're like, you're here with your friend. Do you want to wait in the pre-surgery prep room where we show you the surgery? Or you could go wait out in the normal outside waiting room that doesn't have the monitors.
You're like,
and I'm like,
thank you. I'm the normal outside.
I'm like, do you mind if I don't watch them do eye surgery on you? He's like, nope, that's great. I'll come out when I'm done.
Wow.
Good gravy.
Yeah.
Good tomato gravy. That is horrifying.
They were very nice people. This is like, some people aren't bothered by it and they would love to see it, right? I don't have a problem with that. I can't.
My dad once made me watch a surgery as part of his quest to make me be a doctor.
I love this story.
Oh.
It was the day after Christmas.
Did it work, Megan, though? Did it work?
Oh, yeah. You all know how I'm a doctor now.
Yeah, because now Megan's a doctor.
I'm a doctor. It worked.
It worked. It all made sense.
I stood in an operating room for what I can only describe as a long time.
He didn't show you a video? He took you to a live surgery?
No, I went to a live surgery,
because you can watch from like those little observations.
No, Maria, I was in the room. I was in the room, you guys.
Oh dear, that would not make me want to do it. My dad's a doctor, which is an
important part of this story.
Yeah.
It doesn't actually make any difference, does it?
I mean, no, I don't.
I think the proximity makes somewhat of a difference.
No, but I mean him being a doctor doesn't make it.
Well, I guess. Like, how did she get in there? You know?
Bring it. Like, I'm going to bring this girl to this surgery and have her stand in the room and watch. Like,
I can't think of anything that would make me want to be a doctor less, quite honestly. Okay.
Yeah,
so anyways, that's just my own story about watching a surgery.
So now that you've all been thoroughly like confused and grossed out.
Just an average episode of Good Luck High Five, to be honest with you.
Yep.
We've got returning mechanics. That's where we're going to start with. And then new mechanics. And then we're going to go into individual card notes.
Yes. So returning mechanics, the big headlines, I put 2 on the same card because I think it's cool. Completed and proliferate. So let's talk about Vraska, Betrayal Sting. She costs a Phyrexian black, a regular black, and 4 for a 6 loyalty legendary planeswalker Vraska.
And she's fabulous.
She is fabulous. This is actually my favorite set of Vraska abilities they've ever printed.
Oh, wow.
I both really want to play her and really don't because I'm annoyed by the Phyrexian mana cost. But that's just like a personal thing. So she's completed. Her first ability. The Phyrexian mana cost can be paid with either black or 2 life. If life was paid, this planeswalker enters with 2 fewer loyalty counters. So if you decide to pay life for that Phyrexian mana, you only pay 5 mana, but you only get a 4 loyalty planeswalker out of your deal. If they have multiple Phyrexian mana symbols like Nissa does, if you can choose how many you want to pay life for. Mm-hmm. So she's Nissa's Phyrexian green 2. She's got a huge weird mana cost, but the point is she has 2 Phyrexian. Big. Yeah, she has 2 Phyrexian green symbols, and so you can choose to pay 2 life and then green, or you can choose to pay for Nissa. You could choose to pay 4 life and just green for her colored pips.
Right.
And for each of those mana symbols that you pay for with life, you get 2 fewer loyalty. If you pay life another way for this card, like you have a Bolas Citadel on the battlefield, and then pay life to cast Vraska off the top of your library, you still get 6 loyalty counters. You have to be paying life specifically for the Phyrexian cost of a Phyrexian symbol for completed to decrease the amount of loyalty you get.
Right.
Vraska has 0. You draw a card and you lose 1 life. Proliferate. We'll circle back in a second. -2. Target creature becomes a treasure artifact with tap, sacrifice this artifact, add 1 mana of any color, and loses all other card types and abilities.
I love it.
Yes. -9. If target player has fewer than 9 poison counters, they get a number of poison counters equal to the difference. We'll talk about poison in a second. But so from the top, she's got like a couple weird things going on. Proliferate is choose any number of permanents or players that have counters on them, and then increase the number of counters on those things by 1 for every counter type that's on that thing.
Yeah, and you said permanents or players, Rob.
Yes, or players. If your opponent has experience counters or you have experience counters, you can increase them. Did you know?
What is where is that one from?
Those are from Commander, like
okay,
2014 or something.
Great.
Like, is there like there's the bowler is from that. Yeah, whatever. They're all pretty fun, actually.
Yeah, that's cool.
But proliferate. If your opponent has a poison counter, you can choose them, and you increase their poison counters by 1. If a creature has any counters on it, you choose that creature, and every type of counter on that creature is increased by 1. So if a creature has both an oil counter and a +1/+1 counter, you will increase both. You can't pick and choose which types of counters. So if your opponent's creature has a -1/-1 counter and an oil counter on it, and you pick it to proliferate, it would get 1 of each.
Okay.
So it would increase the oil and increase the -1. As a note, there's no way to do this in this set. There are very few counters, which I'll talk about in a bit. There's very, very few counter types in this set.
Okay.
Planeswalkers have loyalty counters, which means that Vraska gets to increase all your planeswalkers by 1 when you proliferate. She looks like she has a 0. She secretly has a +1.
Yeah, that's a secret +1 on her.
And that's pretty sweet. Her -2 ability, which we mentioned we love, is that target creature becomes a treasure artifact. With tap, sacrifice it to add 1 mana of any color.
That creature was a treasure.
Yes.
It's truly a treasure.
Yeah, and it leaves it on the battlefield. She turns something to stone and makes your opponent go through the trouble of destroying their own creature. It feels like heartless. It's very, very, very good.
It's great.
They're like, but I don't want to sacrifice my thing. It's like,
but it's just a stone now.
A treasure now.
Yep. And the controller retains it. Whoever had that thing, it keeps control of it. Under some weird and unusual circumstances, it can get other abilities and things, but mostly it just wipes out whatever it's there and replaces it with it's a treasure. You can just set a treasure counter on top of it. They might flicker it, and then it'll come back, being removed from stone, which I also think is pretty cool.
Wait, if they flicker their treasure, it become card
It return
again?
back into the creature. Yeah, because the continuous ability is gone. Anything that leaves the battlefield and comes back doesn't remember its previous existence, right?
Right. Oh.
And so they can save their creature by returning it to their hand. Like they could bounce it with a boomerang effect, right?
Oh, that's kind of cool.
And then replay it. So they can save their creature from being turned to stone by Vraska, which is, I actually love this. This is like the most flavorful Vraska ability that exists, I think.
Yeah, I think it's great.
Because of this. And then she can almost but not quite kill a player with poison counters.
Speaking
of, poison is back. So
it's the 80s all over again.
Yeah, it's the 80s all over again, which is fine. Poison wasn't terrible.
No, they had some good songs.
Yeah. I can't remember any of them.
No, not right now.
So let's use Noxious Assault as our example.
Every rose has its thorn. God dang it.
Yeah, that's true.
Talk dirty to me. Those are the
two.
Those are the two. Okay.
So Noxious Assault is green 3 for a sorcery. It says creatures you control get +2/+2 until end of turn. Whenever a creature blocks this turn, its controller gets a poison counter. So this just directly puts poison counters on players.
Wow, this could be bad.
Yeah, this mostly just kills the crab. This is also an example again of teeth.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Look at this. He's a very excited boy. So the way the poison works is if you have 10 poison counters, you lose the game. Poison counts up. There is one way from homelands to remove poison counters. We do not care about it.
All right.
Got it.
There's 2 ways in Magic to remove poison counters if you have them. One is leeches, and one is Karn Liberated, who can restart the game, which removes your poison counters.
Well, that's one way to get around it.
Those are the only ways to really get rid of poison counters once you have them. They
you could lose and then you don't have them anymore.
I was going to say, it's the third way to die.
Yeah. So this represents being completed and corrupted by the Phyrexians. And so things will generate poison counters. We'll talk about the other mechanic that adds poison counters in a little bit, but there's a number of cards in the set that just say an opponent gets a poison counter, or each opponent gets a poison counter usually.
Sure.
Or in this case, like every time they block, they get a poison counter, which makes your creatures like either kill them with damage or poison. The pre-release Saturday. The pre-release on Saturday, it was about 2/3 poison kills versus regular damage.
Wow.
There were a lot of poison kills.
Interesting.
Because it's inevitable. Gaining life doesn't get you out of the poison.
No. Yeah.
So, like, you'd be in situations where you'd be like, well, I'm at 18 and 9 poison counters, which happened to Graham at one point.
Oh my
He's
gosh.
like, any proliferate spell kills me on the spot because you can proliferate their poison counters to make them die.
Yep.
And
Wow. Okay, everybody.
exciting.
Take that tip
Yep.
with you into the pre-release.
Interesting.
And also because poison is pretty parasitic, it only really exists in reasonably recent Magic in this set and in the previous Mirrodin block. They feel free to push a lot of the poison stuff. There's just a ton of poison in this set, so be aware. You'll get poison a lot. And we'll talk about some things related to it.
Will I
later.
though, Rob? Because I've spent months just drinking very small portions of the poison to make myself immune.
Well, so if you play Two-Headed Giant, you'll be partially immune. And this is something I want to talk about, actually. Two-Headed Giant, the poison total is 15.
Okay.
So if you go play Two-Headed Giant at a store pre-release, the poison total is 15. Also with Proliferate in Two-Headed Giant, you choose a team instead of a player. So you can't proliferate on them twice. If the opposing team, they have one shared pool of poison counters. And so then if you proliferate on them, you choose the team and you add 1 poison counter.
Okay.
You don't get to add
is
2
very
when you
good to
proliferate
know.
on them. This is very relevant.
An important two-headed giant corner case.
Yeah, well, this isn't even like a corner case. This is just going to come up all of the time in this format.
Oh, fair enough, yeah.
And the other thing to note is when we get to Corrupted, anytime that something asks for an opponent's amount of poison counters, it gets the whole team's.
Okay.
Because it's a single shared poison total for the team.
Oh, it's so nice. You
Yep.
know, two-headed giant really brings you closer to your partner.
Yep.
you know,
But
when
you
you have a
share
disease,
poison.
they probably get it. If you have a cold, they get the cold.
It's true.
Yeah.
It's true. Anytime I come home from a big Magic event, I don't get sick and Ruth gets all my con crud.
Oh, that's really
It's,
nice of you, Rob.
Yep.
That's
That's sweet.
We're going to move on to Flashback. So here's the deal. There are a bunch of cards in the set that have like a mechanic that I normally talk about. Flashback, Battle Cry, and Affinity all exist. I'll run through them really quick. They are on like 1 to 3 cards.
Okay.
And so like Viral Spawning is green and 2 for a sorcery. It says create a 3/3 green Phyrexian beast creature token with toxic 1. Talk about that in a second. And it is Corrupted. Also talk about this in a second in our new stuff. But as long as an opponent has 3 or more poison counters and Viral Spawning is in your graveyard, it has Flashback of green and 2, which means you can pay its flashback cost, cast it from the graveyard, and then exile it after it goes to leave the stack. So it's the only card with flashback in the set. They decided they could put flashback on 1 random card in a set and be fine.
Yeah, Mark Rosewater recently said flashback.
Yes, deciduous.
is deciduous, so it'll
and
come
apparently
around.
Battle Cry is 2 because Rhea Evor, Bane of Bladehold has it. Rhea Evor is black-white 2 for a 3/4 legendary creature Phyrexian Knight. Has Battle Cry. Whenever this creature attacks, each other attacking creature gets +1/+0 until end of turn. And at the beginning of combat on your turn, the next time target creature would deal combat damage to 1 or more players this combat, prevent that damage. If damage is prevented this way, create that many 1/1 colorless Phyrexian Might artifact creature tokens with toxic 1, and this creature can't block.
That's a lot of words.
It's
That's
a lot of words.
words.
Like a lot of it is the way the tokens work is they have to spell out all the crap that tokens do. It's just like it has to be colorless and basically they're just 1/1 artifact white idiots that can't block. They're bad at their jobs, but their other job is to like make your opponent feel anxious, which is like
the number one job of mites, I would argue.
Yeah. For sure.
I would argue that mites, bed bugs, all these little like human like human parasites that we get in our houses.
Their number one job, make you feel
Anxiety.
anxious.
Yeah, anxiety. There's also 3 cards with Affinity. They decided they could put Affinity on some number of random cards.
Weird.
So like Uxeta Finisher is red 5 for a 7/5. A creature Ogre Rebel with Affinity for equipment. This spell costs 1 less to cast for each equipment you control.
Weird, but okay.
Yeah, there's 2 with Affinity for equipment and 1 with Affinity for artifacts. in
Wow.
red.
I have
And so-
affinity for winning the game. Is
Yep.
that on any cards?
Well, within a game, you don't know how many games you've won because games are independent. So we could put that on a card, but it wouldn't work.
It wouldn't mean anything.
Yeah,
All right,
it
all
wouldn't
right.
do anything for you. Like, Uxeta Finisher also has Trample. So they have these cards that have like these like flavorful-ish mechanics that they're resurrecting from Magic's history. I think they're probably going to do that a bunch more. They've decided they're just going to mine mechanics. They're going to put reminder text on all these cards, except for the weird, like, if they're going to make alt art versions, they always drop the flavor text, which I actually kind of disagree with if they're going to do this. Because if you don't know what Affinity is, if you've never played with it, then, and you see an alt art card with Affinity, you're like, what does this do? I have to go look it up. And so,
Yeah.
Interesting. We'll see if they keep doing it from here on out.
I think they will. I think it's not a bad spend.
No, I agree.
Because they could spell this out. That's what they would do in previous sets.
Yes.
They'd be like they did in
Costs less, one less for each equipment you control.
Yeah, exactly. Or in Theros Beyond Death, where they had a bunch of like heroic creatures that didn't have the word heroic on them.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, that's super annoying. Why didn't they just put heroic on these? And so I think they're just going to do that.
Yeah.
So the new mechanics, though.
New mechanics.
Yeah,
Let's
the big one is toxic. So like Plague Nurse here is green.
Whoa, that's a
3.
hot take, Rob, to call a mechanic toxic. You haven't even played with it yet.
I mean, but I watched people play with it.
And it's literally called toxic.
It's literally called toxic. And Plague Nurse here, she's super toxic. So
she is.
Green and 3 for a 3/4 creature, Phyrexian Cleric, toxic 2, and has green and 2. Each other creature you control with toxic gains toxic 1 until end of turn.
Jeez.
Activate only once each turn. And then she has reminder text for toxic. A player dealt damage by a creature with toxic also gets poison counters equal to that creature's total toxic value. So toxic says she is toxic 2. If she hits your opponent, they get 2 poison counters. This is part of the damage event. If all the damage is prevented, they don't get any counters. And if you have multiple instances of toxic, they sum. So if you activate her to give toxic, or she gives it to other creatures. So if you had like a might token that is toxic 1 and you activate her, it has toxic 1 twice, which is 2 counters. And what you do is you count up all of the toxic numbers amongst all your creatures and put that many poison counters on your opponent. It's technically one event, which we had to figure out from the release notes, because a card that I've talked about later, All Will Be One, cares about when counters are placed on your opponent. And so it's all one event, no matter how many creatures are damaging your opponent at once.
Okay.
I just have a quick question for y'all.
Yes.
Are y'all going to the damage event later? I heard it's going to be a good time.
Yeah, I'm going.
I kind of am. I'm gonna be playing board games.
Oh yeah, that's the damage event. Yeah.
Yep. 4 Mirrodin is the other one. It's a mechanic with an exclamation point. That's very exciting.
Wild.
So Sylvok Battle Chair here.
It's a chair.
Yeah, Colossal Chair Maw. Green 4 for an artifact equipment. It has 4 Mirrodin. And 4 Mirrodin means when this equipment enters the battlefield, create a 2/2 red rebel creature token, then attach this equipment to it. Equipped creature gets +4/+4 and has trample.
Great.
Equips for green 5. So if you remember Living Weapon from the last Phyrexia set, this is similar to that, where it makes a token. The equipment comes with a body, basically. Unlike Living Weapon, the equipment doesn't have to give any kind of bonus. There's some that are just like they have a static ability that like gives flying and equipped creatures +1/+0. And so it doesn't have to give toughness. You always get a 2/2 body out of this. This is a trigger that creates the token, then attaches the equipment, which is important for cards that care about if a creature that's big enough entered the battlefield. A 2/2 entered. There's one that we'll talk about later that cares how big your other things
left.
are. Yes. A 6/6 leaves, but the thing is that it doesn't enter as a 6/6, enters as a 2/2, and then the equipment attaches. But this all happens during the trigger, so your opponent
can't like respond to it.
you can't like bolt the creature in the middle.
Yeah. Okay.
This is just like you get a creature and it leaves behind a chair. And if you have 7 mana, you can have somebody else ride in your chair.
Fun. This chair looks fun.
I picked this because it's basically the funniest one of the whole lot.
It's very cool.
It's great.
It's very hilarious.
I want a battle chair.
Corrupted is a new thing that tracks the number of poison counters players have. So a note with affliction is black and 1 for an instant. It says exile target creature if it has mana value 3 or less. And it has the ability word corrupted. Exile that creature instead if its controller has 3 or more poison counters.
Nice.
So the
Really
phrasing on
good.
this seems a little weird. This one is specifically exile that thing if it's too small or if it's small enough. And then check again. Did you happen to have 3 or more poison counters? Even if it's big, exile it. Is how it functionally works out. Like So corrupted just says if they have 3 or more poison counters, they are corrupted. They're above the threshold for the number of poison counters.
Corrupted turns on.
Yes, corrupted turns on. It checks when it's relevant. So like in this case, it checks during the resolution of the spell. So there might be things that like whenever you cast a non-creature spell, proliferate. If they had 2 poison counters, you can target anything. A Note with Affliction lets you target any creature, even if it has mana value 5. And even if you couldn't normally exile it. So you could target a 5 with a Note with Affliction and then proliferate with when you cast a non-creature spell, proliferate, and then bring them up to 3, which then makes you able to exile. Because this one checks on resolution. Some things are like they gain an activated ability if they're corrupted. There's a variety of stuff. It's an ability word. It's all just, like the cards say what they do on all of it. And then I have a missing mechanics section.
What? You've never had this section before?
I've never had this section before because I thought it was weird. When I was going through the set and watching the pre-release, I was like, you know what? There's no +1/+1 counters in this set. Not a single one.
Yeah. So weird.
There's no -1/-1s either. In the previous Phyrexia, there were -1/-1 counters.
Yeah.
There's just none. There's a cycle of legends that can get an indestructible counter, which you could proliferate, but it doesn't do anything.
Yeah.
Right? It's an ability counter. And like you get poison counters on players. You get oil counters is the only counter that's used that goes in your creatures basically. And you get loyalty on your planeswalkers, but there's nothing else. There's no other counter sources in this set. So proliferate doesn't have a lot of like
stuff
fancy,
to proliferate.
There's not a lot of weird things you can do. All the stuff that would have been charge counters in the past or +1/+1 counters is all oil counters.
Yeah.
All the creatures with oil that would get +1/+1 counters get oil counters and then say they get like +1/+1 for each oil counter on them.
Weird.
And so, it's a very it's also very insular, right? This set is very self-contained and like navel gazy stares into
Just
its own
like
eyes.
Phyrexia.
Yeah, just like Phyrexia.
Plane of layers.
Yep.
Like a 7-layer
seven-layer
bar.
bar.
No, there's 9
7-layer
spheres, thank you.
conspiracy.
A 9-layer Phyrexian bar. We could have a nice recipe for that. That actually has 9 layers.
Yeah.
Then we can add Rob's marshmallow and cookie layer.
I was going to say we have to add Oreo layer since Phyrexian oil
Tastes like Oreos.
tastes like Oreos.
Did you hear about this, Rob?
Yeah, I did. I was like,
Regrettably.
It's not wrong. My question is, does it taste like normal Oreos, or does it taste like good Oreos, like Numinos?
Oh, ooh, hot take.
Wow.
I've never had a Numino.
Or does
You've
it
never
taste
had
like
a
a
Numino?
budget Oreo?
No,
Yeah,
no.
Oreos are the budget Oreo.
Oreo is budget Oreo?
Yeah, because Hydrox were original.
Okay, but you're telling me like if I go to like Target, there's not going to be Target brand Oreo? I guess actually they don't. No.
They don't really, because
fair enough.
Hydrox cookies came first.
Yeah.
Then Oreos were the knockoff that was cheaper.
And then they obliterated them.
Yeah, they wiped out Hydrox.
Which is
You've
very
never seen a Hydrox
Phyrexian
cookie.
of
Yeah, it's
Oreos
very
to have
Phyrexian
done.
of Oreos.
Oh, wow.
And they assimilate all sorts of other stuff.
Wow.
You can go buy Oreos
Birthday
made out of
cake
graham
Oreo?
crackers, right?
Yeah.
That don't have
Yes.
the Oreo outside, right?
Wow.
That you can buy, and they'll fill them with anything. They'll fill them with pistachio, right?
You're making a really compelling case for Oreos actually being Phyrexians.
Yeah.
Look, I thought of all of this when I said it the other day.
very far thinking. Like I was thinking though, like, are you gonna buy like Oreo or like Numinos? Like honestly, just go get Numinos.
Now I'm gonna buy a Numino because I want
your
your saying it's better. Okay.
Yeah, both the cookies a little better and the cream's a little better.
Also,
Wow.
just like Fig Newmans, if you've
Yes.
only been having Fig Newtons and you've never had a
yeah.
Fig Newman,
Yeah.
do yourself a favor because it's like it's
It's nice.
brand new
Strict
experience.
upgrade.
Yeah, it's a strict upgrade. Almost all the stuff that like
Everything they make
Paul
is
Newman's
just an-
company is
Yes.
just they just make it like so they cost 25% more, but they're also like 30% better. so
Okay,
you come
well,
out
I'll
ahead.
make that trade.
Paul Newman, the guy was a fox, and he makes
Yes.
a tasty cookie.
Yeah, one of my favorite actors. It also like it
Yeah.
makes all sorts of good foods.
Oh my gosh. Well, now I'm going to just have to go through all of the catalog of Paul Newman's foods and see
Yeah.
I
how
mean,
they've been upgraded.
To be fair, it used to be more charity driven than it is too. Like
Yeah.
the people who took over his estate don't sink as much into charity as because that was the
Shocking.
foundation. Is it was a charity driven organization that he made, but like it's still fine.
All right.
Yep.
Moving on.
Sorry. this digression to Paul Newman has been brought to you
How
by
dare
Newman's
you,
Own.
Rob? It was definitely all your fault and not Maria and I's trademark of the show.
Oh, look is the popcorn good?
I have no idea. I've never had their
about
popcorn.
that. But I was just talking to someone yesterday about how many microplastics are in microwave popcorn, so I'm just going to tell you, don't touch it.
Oh, God.
Maria,
Okay.
don't do it.
I know. Sometimes I'm lazy, though. Okay, well, I'll stop being lazy.
Let's look at individual cards because
Let's.
that's what we've got.
Yes.
Let's start with Charge of the Mites. I don't know what's going on in this art. Those are mites, right?
Yes.
But they're
Those are
also
big mites.
But they're big mites.
I don't know. So white and
Mighty
2
mites.
for an instant. Choose 1. Charge of the Mites deals damage equal to the number of creatures you control to target creature or planeswalker. Or create 2 1/1 colorless Phyrexian Mite artifact creature tokens with Toxic 1, and this creature can't block. So the same mites that we're looking at before, they're toxic, so players dealt combat damage by them also get a poison counter.
Yeah.
As a note, this calculates its damage during resolution. I remind on this a lot, but like it's hard to think through that your opponent can like use one of the myriad of instant speed removal spells in this set to remove one of your creatures to reduce the damage that this is going to deal.
Yeah.
Because you'll target their 5/5 with your 5 creatures out, and they'll be like, in response, I'm gonna like edict you with Childred's whatever. And
Yeah.
Edict.
yeah. There's an instant speed edict. It's really good. Yeah. So be aware. You can get blown up by removal on this. And you have to choose the mode when it goes in the stack, so they know and the target, so they know exactly what's going to happen.
They can't like you're like, oh, I'm gonna cast this, and they're like, I kill a creature, and you're like, I changed my mind.
Yeah,
Give me
I would like to make 2 mites.
And they're like, no,
They're like, I
too
don't know
late.
how it works.
Ruthless Predation. Green and 1 for a sorcery. Target creature you control gets +1/+2 until end of turn. It fights target creature you don't control.
Fight.
Yep.
Too
Standard
many
fight.
arms.
Yeah, this is.
This art's got too many arms.
Yep. It's a problem. He's got enough arms to strangle that dude with
Yes.
six of them.
This guy has got
Yeah.
at least 300 pounds on whatever is strangling him, and
And
he's
it does
losing.
not matter. Yeah.
Well,
many
that's
arms.
the
Does not
problem.
matter.
That's the power of arms.
Yeah.
And so
Why is this card not called
That's
the power of arms?
yeah, it could be. So I want to note for Ruthless Predation here. If they have no creatures, you can't cast the spell. It requires you to target one of yours and one of theirs. It's relevant if you.
So you can't use it as a pump spell.
Yeah, you can't use it as a pump spell unless you're going to fight.
Okay.
Gotcha.
And so it's obligatory that you have a fight for it. You can't use it to save your creature if they don't have any creatures. You can't use it to kill their face if they don't have any creatures.
Sure.
So just be aware that if you're clicking on this in arena, why can't I kill you? Well, that's why.
Yeah.
Armored Scrap Gorger.
I love this art.
This art is actually very nice. This is a pleasant piece for this set. Green and 1 for a creature, Phyrexian Beast. It's an 0/3. It gets +3/+0 as long as it has 3 or more oil counters on it. Tap to add 1 mana of any color. And whenever Armored Scrap Gorger becomes tapped, exile target card from a graveyard and put an oil counter on Armored Scrap Gorger.
Wow, this card's great.
This card's very good. You will play it in most of your green limited pools, which is going to lead to weird situations because I think that this is one of the more complicated cards in the set. So it has this triggered ability that whenever it becomes tapped, whenever you tap it for mana or attack with it, right? It must eat. It has to target something from a graveyard. When it becomes tapped, exile target card. That's mandatory.
It must eat.
If there are no creature cards in graveyards, this ability doesn't get to go on the stack because it doesn't have a target. Because it must target. It's not up to 1. It has to eat something.
Hungry.
So hungry. And also, if it doesn't have anything to eat, it doesn't get oil counters. So if you play this on turn 2, there's usually nothing in the graveyard yet, right? And so then on turn 3, you tap it for mana, and you're like 50-50 to get an oil counter, maybe.
Yeah.
So the targeting requirement of the trigger means that you have to have something there.
Gotcha.
In order to get an oil counter. And this will come up a bunch. It's also technically possible with the spheres. So there's these lands that have color 1 tap and sacrifice them, draw a card. If you have no cards in your graveyard, it's technically possible for you to eat the sphere by using the Armored Scrap Gorger for mana.
That's what I say when I eat an Oreo.
You eat the sphere.
I know it's a disc. It's a disc. Okay.
Yeah, I was gonna say you and I have eaten very different Oreos.
I've been eating a round Oreo though.
Wouldn't you eat an Oreo sphere?
Because the inside has the cream.
Yeah.
and the
Okay, so
outside's
it's Oreo cookie on the outside. It's not
an
like
Oreo ball.
It's not like just a flat layer of cream with like a disc of chocolate-ish stuff above and beneath.
No, it's kind of a thicker cookie layer, so you break your teeth when you bite into it. But the cream is in there.
Yeah. I would assume that I would cut it with a knife and then like scoop out the cream with a spoon.
No, you can't cut it with a knife because it's going to crack. Just like if you cut an Oreo, it would just go everywhere. It's a horrible invention.
Okay. Yeah.
Maria, this could have been a good thing. All right.
Yeah.
Sorry.
It's like
I'm thinking
Phyrexia. It could have been a good thing.
it could have been a good thing. Like a crispy cookie outside and then cream on the inside, the end.
So
it's like a truffle, but cookie.
Oh, yeah. Cookie truffle.
Yeah.
Oh, is that
All
a
right.
thing?
So with the spheres though, you can
Truffle.
activate the sphere. You announce I'm activating this. I'm gonna pay all the costs, and then it goes on the stack. The ability goes in the stack, but you paid the cost of sacrificing it, and then it's in the graveyard already. And that's when the trigger happens from the Armored Scrap Forger. And then it could go in and eat the sphere.
Yeah.
You can do this. If you're going to try to do this on Arena, it should work just fine. But you need to instead of like tapping your mana first and then clicking your spell, you need to click the spell and then tap the mana because that's actually the order in which you need to do it.
Great.
Floating mana doesn't work for you. But you also might want to leave the sphere in your graveyard, so you actually get a choice there, which is nice. Evolving Adaptive. Single green.
I thought this said evolving appetite.
I mean, that would not surprise me relevant to the set. It would have more teeth if it was Evolving Appetite in the set, though.
Okay.
You're very hungry? Okay. Evolving Adaptive single green for a 0/0 creature Phyrexian warrior. Evolving Adaptive enters the battlefield with an oil counter on it. Evolving Adaptive gets +1/+1 for each oil counter on it. Whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, if that creature has greater power or toughness than Evolving Adaptive, put an oil counter on Evolving Adaptive.
Weird. So it's like Evolve, but
It's
not
exactly like Evolve.
Did Evolve want the toughness too?
Yep.
Is that how it worked?
Either one was fine for Evolve.
Wow,
this is exactly the same. They named it in reference, but it doesn't get +1/+1 counter, so they couldn't put Evolve on it.
Oh, sure.
And so it's just oil.
Okay.
This is the card that I called out working weirdly with 4 Mirrodin cards. So if you cast Colossal Chairmaw, it'll create a 2/2 token.
Yeah.
If Evolving Adaptive already has 2 power and toughness, it won't evolve.
Gotcha.
Because it entered as a 2/2 and then got the chair. equipped to it.
That's really relevant. I would not. I don't think I would know that.
Yep.
Well, maybe I would. I'm not
It's
sure.
not obvious,
But who
and
can say?
like don't file a bug report. It's the chair comes out and then gets equipped. And you will probably play both of these in reasonable limited decks. And so again, this actually came up with the pre-release.
Yeah.
So just a thing. Necrogen Communion.
Ugh, great name.
A great name, and actually, again, really pleasant art for the
it is
set.
pretty.
This is just nice. Black and 1 for an enchantment aura. Enchant creature you control. Enchanted creature has Toxic 2. So players dealt combat damage by this specifically, get 2 poison counters. When enchanted creature dies, return that card to the battlefield under your control.
Sick.
It's very good. This card is very
really good.
And so the thing is, though, that there's instant speed graveyard removal in this set, notably Armored Scrap Forger, which can eat things from the graveyard at instant speed.
Exile get it too.
Yep. And so you can let the creature die, and then while it's in the graveyard, exile the creature, and then Necrogen Communion loses track of it and can't return it from exile.
Where did it go?
Yep.
I don't know. I'm sorry.
Boss. And also, if they take control of your creature, there's some ways to do this in this set. Then this will fall off because it's enchant creature you control.
Oh, that's right. It's right there on the card. You know what they say? Read
and you
the card.
can't play it on there. The other thing with this is with some of these enchantments, you might play on your opponent's creature in order to then kill the creature and take control of it. You can't do that with this.
Yeah, no.
So there's some limits because of the enchant creature you control.
Okay.
Blade of Shared Souls. It's blue and 2 for an artifact equipment, 4 Mirrodin. So it makes a 2/2 rebel and then equips itself to that. Whenever Blade of Shared Souls becomes attached to a creature, for as long as Blade of Shared Souls remains attached to it, you may have that creature become a copy of another target creature you control.
Oh.
And then it equips for 2 mana. This card is way weird. So what it does is it changes the characteristics of the object in the battlefield.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so if you like copy evolving adaptive, you don't get the ETB trigger from the oil or ETB replacement effect that puts the oil counters on it.
Yeah.
And so you'll probably die.
Uh-oh.
Because you'll be a 0/0.
Yeah.
You get the base characteristics of whatever that object is as modified by other copy effects.
Gotcha.
And that duration is until this becomes unequipped. So you can move the blade around to get back your original characteristics.
Nice.
Like if you decide that you really need a 2/2 red creature for some reason because you copied a 1/3 or whatever, and you're like, no, I want 2 power now, you can move your thing over. And it's also optional. You still have to pick a target, and then you choose whether or not you're going to copy during resolution.
Okay.
This is a strange card. I like it a lot, but be aware that you're going to end up in situations counters don't get copied. So if you have something with a bunch of oil counters on it, copying them isn't going to copy the oil counters. Mm-hmm. But you can use this to like amass oil counters in weird ways from oil counter stuff. So it's just a neat, interesting card. I like open, interesting rares like this.
It does seem very cool.
Blue Sun's Twilight is
more great art.
I love this art.
This
it's
is
so
just
cool.
Jingataxis wants to eat the sun.
Wouldn't you, if you could?
Would I? No, that would kill everyone.
I'm with Rob here.
It's just so tempting.
Maria, you're telling me that if you could eat the sun,
I think she's just very hungry.
Yeah, you guys, I just need to stop because
the sun.
Do you have like a blood sugar monitor that we can use to check you?
Seriously. I'm struggling.
So, Blue Sun's Twilight. Blue X for a sorcery. Gain control of target creature with mana value X or less. If X is 5 or more, create a token that's a copy of that creature.
Sick.
It's very cool. So the thing with this is if you do both parts of it, it steals their creature and then makes a copy, which might be relevant if the creature has like a whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control trigger. Mm-hmm. Or it might be relevant if you like steal their Elish Norn.
Well, I plan on doing that.
Yeah. So like just be aware that the sequencing is you steal their thing and then you make a copy for the purposes of like, especially ETB triggers, like whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control is a thing that comes up a couple times in this set. Graz, Unstoppable Juggernaut.
Ooh,
Graz. The art of this thing is real metal, man.
It's a leveler.
Woof.
I don't know how much lore you know about original Mirrodin.
No.
Mirrodin's an artificial creation of Karn.
Yes.
It's a sphere. It's a metal sphere that he made that's huge, right?
Yeah.
And he wanted to keep it like a smooth sphere. And so he made these levelers, which are humongous, immense things that roll over the surface of Mirrodin and wipe everything clean
nice
behind themselves. Yep. And
I love this
I love
guy.
his eye to detail, like his attention to detail.
Yeah.
Karn's.
Yeah.
Got to keep the sphere smooth.
Yeah, you got to keep it. He also views like the organic things that it eventually like take root on Mirrodin, like the humans and stuff that come here, as like kind of pests, which is so the levelers are designed to kind of clean everything out. It's like a self-cleaning oven, and yeah. So the like leveler is a weird card from the original Mirrodin that like nobody cares about. It's like a 4 mana. It says do some stuff. We don't care about it. But Graz Unstoppable Juggernaut is 8 mana for a legendary artifact creature Juggernaut. 7/5. Juggernauts you control attack each combat if able. Juggernauts you control can't be blocked by walls. And other creatures you control have base power and toughness 5/3 and are juggernauts in addition to their other creature types.
I love this card.
The card is very fun.
Everybody's a juggernaut.
It is actually the single card I'm most excited for in this set because of the tragedy that is Traxos Scourge of Krug and having the wrong creature
Well,
type.
at least they went back to giving juggernauts can't be blocked by walls.
Yes.
There's one that
There's a wall in the set?
The previous set where it did not have that text on it.
Yep.
And I was like, that's not a juggernaut.
That's
It's not a juggernaut.
Simply not a juggernaut.
Graz here, he adds types. He wipes out the base power and toughness. Additional +1/+1 counters would apply on top, but as we mentioned, there aren't really any +1/+1 counters in this set.
Yeah.
Equipment will add power and toughness on top of that, though. It's just like replacing the numbers in the corner with 5/3. It also adds the type Juggernaut. It doesn't remove any type. It doesn't add artifact. So your creatures don't become artifacts, even though you might think Juggernauts are all artifacts. Yeah, but Graz doesn't do that.
Yeah.
But not all artifacts are juggernauts.
It's true.
Are all Juggernauts articefacts?
I
Well,
believe
not with
so.
Graz.
Yeah, Graz will make anything he wants into a.
Okay, I'm just
like,
curious. Continue.
Yeah, I think what are you looking at? Like a Keldon Battle Wagon, Altarian. Like I know these because I built a Juggernaut tribal deck.
Yeah.
I'm excited for this because I want a Juggernaut commander, and Traxos Scourge of Krug looks like a Juggernaut, but inexplicably is a construct. Made me angry.
They're all
artifacts.
Yep.
And so Graz will turn your stuff into Juggernauts, but not artifacts. He also adds abilities to them. He doesn't wipe out any existing abilities, which is relevant if you have flying, if you have vigilance. You get to keep those things. You're just like upgrade your 1/2 flying vigilance dude into
You're
a 5/3
also
flying
just a
vigilance
Juggernaut.
dude.
Sick.
It's pretty good. But they have to fight. In the grim future of Graz, there's only war. So, mostly, I think this is Craterhoof Behemoth, and I think you just kill your opponent for the temerity of existing every time you cast this spell.
Right.
That's how I view this card. Green Sun's Twilight is my next one. It's a sorcery, green and X. Reveal the top X+1 cards of your library. Choose a creature card and or a land card from among them. Put those cards into your hand and the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. If X is 5 or more, instead put the chosen cards onto the battlefield or into your hand and the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. So, there's not a lot of cards that say X+1.
Yeah, that is
You know,
bizarre.
that's very bizarre. You remind yourself.
I know. I would have.
Yeah.
I think I would have missed it.
Yeah, I missed it the first time I read this card. I was like, this doesn't seem very good. It's actually fine. The other thing is that there's other cards like this also tend to have a mana restriction on the creature that you can put on the battlefield. Green Sun's Twilight does not care.
Nice. So it's like, hey, you find a big baddie in there?
Yeah. Would you like to put Graz on the battlefield?
I would. I want to put Graz in the battlefield.
Yep. Yep. You get a discount for putting them out with Green Sun's Twilight, and a free land just because. So
You need them.
Throw it in there.
needs
you
them.
need them. So just be aware that this has two things that, like, if you're used to cards like this, that they don't usually have.
Yeah.
There's the +1 and the no mana cost limitation on it. Soulless Jailer.
Our preview card.
Our preview
Yes,
card.
I know. I want to talk about it though because it's got some weird stuff going on.
Yeah.
And
But also so cute.
it's actually very cute. Again,
Isn't it cute?
I keep on picking out art from the set that's actually like normal and sane.
Yeah.
I think that they put all the like weird teeth stuff on like commons that I don't care about.
Yeah.
So Soulless Jailer, it's a 0/4 artifact creature, Phyrexian Golem. Permanent cards in graveyards can't enter the battlefield. Players can't cast non-creature spells from graveyards or exile. So Soulless Jailer is really specific about what it's trying to beat up. It really wants you to not cascade. This card says, please don't cascade. Which is relevant in like Modern.
Because you're
casting the spell from exile.
Exile. Okay.
And so like all of the Cascade 0 mana spells in Modern aren't creatures. So they will get exiled by Cascade and then won't be castable.
Go get him, Soulless
Yep.
Jailer.
This cares about where things come from though. So the Soulless Jailer does not prevent things from being put onto the battlefield from your library. So Green Sun's Twilight from before puts them onto the battlefield from your library. Soulless Jailer does not care. So you need to look at where the thing is coming from to determine what it's going to be doing. It also doesn't prevent permanents from entering from exile. So it doesn't prevent flickering. It doesn't prevent you from casting your commander in Commander.
Sure.
Like it just pays a lot of attention to some very weird specific things. It's very unusual. It's very focused kind of nonsense. You probably will not play this in limited because it does not matter.
Yeah,
about
please
any of
don't
the stuff
play
in
this
the set.
card.
Please don't play this
Okay.
card in limited.
Unless
You really need an 0/4?
Yeah, if you need an 0/4 for 2, if you're playing a 3-color control deck, like some kind of brilliant super genius, and you open this and you need a blocker, you can play this. None of this
Or
text
bring
does
it in
anything.
out of your board for. Oh, anyway.
Yep.
Lock the door and eat the key. That's a great flavor.
Yes,
text.
lock the door and eat the key is like perfect. I like that a lot. All will be one. The name of the set on a card
on
for
a
some
card. Has this
inexplicable
ever
reason.
happened? I mean, we're getting a lot of
Conflux.
colon sets.
Yeah, Conflux was the first card. Yeah, there's a lot of sets where
They
the
are
art
what
is
they
just
are.
illustrations of colons.
Yeah.
I I'm constantly writing the name of these sets, right?
Yep.
And I'm always like, God, they're so long. There's a friggin' colon in here.
Well, it's the sequels problem, right? If you make, like once you get to Fast and the Furious 8, you're just like, I don't want to call it Fast and the Furious 8. People are going to say, did I miss anything in the first 7? Right? Instead you call it, Fast and the Furious.
At least when we get to 10, it's going to be Fast 10 Furious.
Sure.
What do you think?
That'd be fine. I would that's actually okay. That like sneaking the number in there, even though like Fantastic with the 4 was bad. Like also it wasn't the 4th movie. I don't know why, but like
I was like, they didn't have 4 movies.
Yeah, they didn't have 4 movies, but they spelled Fantastic with a 4 instead of the A.
Okay.
Look, movie executives, but All Will Be One is red 3 for an enchantment. Whenever you put one or more counters on a permanent or player, All Will Be One deals that much damage to target opponent, creature an opponent controls, or planeswalker an opponent controls. This card
seems really sick.
This card's incredible.
Gross.
I mean, it's a mythic.
It's a 5-cost red mythic. Your opponents should feel bad when this gets cast, and they're going to. Anytime an oil counter gets put on, you'll deal 1 damage, right? Because it's one oil counter getting put on. It counts all of the toxic counters going on as a single event. So if you attack your opponent with 2 different toxic 2 creatures, then they don't block, and this puts 4 poison counters on them as a single event.
Yeah. The damage.
Yeah.
We're going.
They elect. This is different from how lifelink works, so they had to clarify this in the release notes, which I'm very glad they've come out already. So if you toxic 2, hit your opponent, 4 counters go on. That means a single trigger from Phyrexia All Will Be One, and it will deal 4 damage to a target.
Wild. Jeez.
So this is if you're a deep rules geek, you'll be like, well, why does it work different from lifelink? And the answer is, I don't know. We'll get the comp rules in a week.
Yeah.
So then we'll get to see exactly how they wrote this out. I have an idea, I have a guess, but the release notes from this are pretty clear that this counts all of the toxic counters getting placed as a single event.
Yeah.
For a single trigger instead of 4 different triggers.
Yeah. Otherwise you'd be dead instantly.
Well, but the thing is that it
would be 1, 1, 1.
Yeah. So if I attack with 2 toxic 2s, I can't split it up. Is the point?
Okay.
So I can kill a single 4 toughness. I can't kill 2 different 2s with 2 toxic 2s hitting at the same time. So that's the thing. Capricious Hellraiser, red 3 for a creature, Phyrexian Dragon. It's a 4/4. This spell costs 3 less to cast if you have 9 or more cards in your graveyard. I don't know why this text is on there. Flying. When Capricious Hellraiser enters the battlefield, exile 3 cards at random from your graveyard. Choose a non-creature, non-land card from among them and copy it. You may cast the copy without paying its mana cost.
What? Instance.
Yes. So my suggestion for this card when you're in physical play, because Arena will just auto-magically pick 3 cards and you don't get any choices, is pick up your graveyard and shuffle it or roll some dice. Shuffle it face down and have your opponent pick cards face down or have them roll dice against the random pile of stuff. Graveyard order doesn't matter in 99.9% of games that you've ever played. So just shuffle your graveyard randomly, get 3 cards, and then those are your 3 that you get to play, that you get to copy one thing of.
This dragon is also very cute.
Yes.
He's having a great time raising hell.
Oh, yeah. He decided that he likes to wreck things. Yep.
Time of his life.
And note that you're going to choose a non-creature, non-land card and copy it and cast the copy without paying its mana cost. If that card is a permanent card, so say it's an enchantment, this will make a token copy of that.
Great.
You'll cast the copy and it'll make the copy will resolve into a token copy.
And then the original will exile.
The original stay in exile. The original stay exiled forever.
Oh,
you're going to exile 3 at random and then they're gone forever and you make a token copy of the card.
Okay.
It's relevant, but that token copy retains all the characteristics of the objects, just like token copies do. So you might end up with token enchantments, token artifacts, whatever, randomly on the battlefield. This is a little weird.
Yeah, I'd say.
Creating arbitrary token auras is not something I've ever really seen before, but the rules are fine with it.
Hashtag goals.
Hashtag goals. Drivnod, Carnage Dominus.
A cosplay.
Very high up there for Grossest card.
Look at this guy.
Cosplay. You're going to cosplay?
I'm going to have my rib cage out.
Well, no, this is a lot more than just a normal rib cage. This is a double-sized rib cage.
It's like a spring.
Yeah. Like what has this kind of rib cage out in the world?
Me,
Like
I do, Rob. That's
do.
what my rib cage looks like.
he has 14 ribs. I
know.
only have like 5.
You could make a lot of women from me.
We'll
You're
just leave
not
that one where it is.
wrong. Yeah, okay. Continuing. Drivnod here is black 3 for a legendary creature Phyrexian horror. Drivnod's an 8/3 for 5 mana. Cards are good now. If a creature dying causes a triggered ability of a permanent you control to trigger, that ability triggers an additional time.
Yikes.
Also, Phyrexian Black, and exile 3 creature cards from your graveyard. Put an indestructible counter on Drivnod, Carnage Dominus. It reminds you of Phyrexia Mana works, which you can pay with either 2 black or 2 life.
This card is a woof and a half.
This card is incredible.
This card is.
So
Drivnod, come to me this
coming,
weekend.
Gross.
coming up from the bottom.
I call you.
Yeah. All of these Dominus cards have like a Phyrexian, and spend some cost to put an indestructible counter on them. Those are all activatable at instant speed on all these Dominuses.
Disgusting.
Yeah. So you can just
Absolutely
sit there and then you don't have to immediately be like, well, to protect him, I need to make him indestructible. No, you just wait until your opponent tries to interact with him and you're just like, nah.
You better be playing your exile cards. That's what I'm learning today.
Yes, exactly. If you can exile things, do it. Like exiling is primo in this set. Also, so this says that ability triggers an additional time. There's a bunch of things nowadays that say this ability triggers only once each turn.
Yeah.
This won't trigger that twice.
Okay.
Because that trigger specifically says it will only trigger once each turn, no matter so if you have a creature die and you have when a creature dies, gain 2 life,
Sure.
this ability triggers only once each turn, you will still only get 1 copy of that trigger because it's only allowed to trigger once per turn.
Gotcha.
Another
Dominus.
Dominus.
Mondrak, Glory Dominus. Wait 2 for a 4/4 legendary creature Phyrexian horror. If 1 or more tokens would be created under your control, twice that many of those tokens are created instead.
Haven't we learned our lesson about cards like these?
I have.
I'm going to say no.
I just am having such flashbacks.
Yeah. Did you know that there's a lot of ways to create mites and rebels in this set?
Yeah, there are.
So,
And
also,
then I'm going to cast Gigatron. What's his name?
Mech Titan?
Grax.
Oh, Graz.
Grass.
Yes.
Yeah, and then
So,
Crater Hoof, like you said.
Mondrak is Phyrexian weight, and 1. Sacrifice 2 other artifacts and/or creatures, so you can split it up, an artifact and a creature. Put an indestructible counter on Mondrak Glory Dominus. So Mondrak will double the number of tokens that you get, right? So anytime that you try to make a mite, it makes 2 mites. Anytime you try to make a rebel with 4 Mirrodin, it makes 2 rebels.
Ooh.
But that trigger is going to try to attach that equipment to both those rebels.
Yeah.
You pick one, it only attaches it to one of it. And
Yeah.
equipment can only be attached to one thing at a time. So you'll get 2 rebels, the equipment will attach to one of them of your choice. So you get to pick which of the 2 entirely indistinguishable rebels it gets equipped to.
This chair only carries 1 rider, man.
Yep, it's true. Even if you could sit in somebody's lap, you're not allowed to.
You're not allowed to.
Yep.
Wow.
The people who prevent you from sitting on people's laps at roller coasters have the same
Have
thing
the
about
same
the
thing
Silbach
about
battle
that.
chair.
They're like,
Have you tried to do
What
that,
only?
Rob? Rob's
and
like,
you
"Ugh,
must be this tall.
Yeah,
so many people told me I can't sit on laps at roller coasters.
it's true.
Wow. What do you
thank you
think
so
about
much,
this
Judge
set?
Rob.
Yeah.
So I am most excited for Graz so that I could build a commander deck
Yeah,
with Juggernauts.
with Juggernauts. I think
Finally.
that's great.
It'll be my first colorless commander deck, actually.
Amazing.
And I'm very excited for a card that we didn't talk about that isn't even in the main set, Urtet, Remnant of Menmark, because I have a mirror commander deck and now I finally get to fire whatever random 5-color person is helming it that day for an actual mirror.
Oh, that's nice.
Nice.
And so I'm excited about cards that are normal-ish for the set. I don't think that I'm going to end up playing most of these cards outside of the context of the set because they all have toxic and poison and stuff.
And like
Yeah.
you said, it's pretty insular.
It's pretty insular. I think that's going to make it a great limited environment. Honestly.
I hope so, yeah.
So the limited environments that are pretty insular tend to be one of 2 things: either miserable because they goofed something up, or tuned to behave smoothly in its own little clockwork universe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this feels a lot more like the latter.
All right.
From seeing stuff at the pre-release, from just reading a bunch of these cards, they feel pretty good. They feel pretty interactive. There's a lot of removal flying around. it looks like it's going to be fun. So
Yeah, I agree. I think it's so cool. Well, Megan, since this is a pretty gross set, I'm going to have you go first because we just need to know. There's a lot of gross going on. What's the grossest?
Well, there's, as you said, a lot. Drivnod, certainly up there. That's just one spooky lad.
One spooky lad.
Whatever he's got going on that's like some combination of weird red sinewy flesh stuff and ribs, don't like it.
Yep.
I just have to say, I don't like it.
All right.
But as we mentioned before, there's a lot of teeth. And there's some of these that just have too many teeth. To honestly be okay. We simply cannot have it. And so another honorable mention to Swooping Lookout, a lot of teeth.
It has the maximum number of teeth that you can have.
It has maximum teeth. Honestly, it has maximum teeth, but they aren't as up close and personal as our true grossest card, Mandible Justiciar. Justicar. Why is there an extra I in there? I feel like, anyways.
Welcome to the English language.
Justicar. Do you know what? I don't like these teeth arms, and I just don't like these teeth arms. I don't like the teeth arms.
Sam, I am.
Look, I don't like them, okay?
Yep.
There's something specific about this one is a teeth arm, and in the forefront you can see it's two hands at the end. Like, no, what?
Yeah, just bonus hands.
No, bonus hands. I don't like it. I don't like it, and I don't like it. Okay?
Megan, can I ask what you think about Ichor Plate Golem?
Sure. What color is that one?
That is colorless.
It's an artifact.
Ichor Plate Golem is actually, like, I think it's a very sweet, disturbing image.
It is cool.
Like,
it's cool, but it's like it's like creepy.
Okay, actually, I don't think had I just not seen this?
You might not have seen this.
Maybe you didn't scroll down to artifacts because I was like, I thought for sure you're going to pick this one because you hate this kind of stuff.
This is pretty awful. This is pretty terrible.
I mean, those are probably masks. They aren't real faces.
Do you know what? You're right. I feel like, and at the end of the day, there is something. It's just a golem, you know.
Golem made of faces.
That cries oil.
We don't have to talk about it like that.
it's a golem made out of masks that cries oil on you.
This is very much in my niche for gross stuff, but I have to say, nope, the teeth arms with hands on the end is what's winning it still.
Oh yeah, those hands are terrible. I look at them and I'm like, why? Who made you? Why?
Who made these? Yeah. Like, it wasn't enough to have one giant mouth arm. You also needed hands at the end of your mouth arm?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, Incisor Glider is clearly like a problem on top of it. But like, yeah.
Clearly a problem.
I don't know why. It's very funny because like Jawbone Duelist, you would think that he's fighting with no, he just has like.
No, he just is. Yep. No. Nope. Okay.
Let's cleanse our palette with Cutest card.
Yes, Maria.
Although there's not going to be much cleansing. I'm going to warn you right now. A lot of the stuff is gross, but
there's a couple real cuties.
Oh wait, I also have to say that there's something specific about Cankerbloom that is disgusting.
The name of that card is gross.
And I think it gets grossest name, which is not something that we've ever had. But Cankerbloom is a disgusting name, and this is a disgusting art.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Okay. Sorry, Maria.
Okay. So yeah, even though they're kind of gross, they're also cute, which plays right into my hands when I'm picking Cutest card because generally they're pretty gross and cute. Rob's pulled up Malcator's Watcher, Phyrexian Drone. It's a cute little drone. Those are pretty cute. I agree.
You always like drones.
I'll give a drone a honorable mention. Oil Gorger Troll I also find cute in this set. Because he's got a cute little smile when he's gorging that oil.
Yep.
He's actually
very
pretty
creepy,
cute.
but okay.
Thrumming Bird is a tiny little hummingbird. So you get a runner-up, Thrumming Bird. You've been Phyrexianized, but you're still pretty cute. So good job. Gataxian Raptor, another creature that generally is cute and has been Phyrexianed. It's a little burb, and he's carrying something in his cute little bird paws, and I often find that very cute. And I do so in this set as well.
Yeah, it's actually just a nice little robot bird.
Yeah, I like that bird. Chrome Prowler, similar, is a Phyrexian cat.
That actually just looks great.
It's just a little kitty cat. Don't find it that cute, but I have to give it a nod because it's a cat. That's just how it goes, everybody. Soulless Jailer, very cute.
So cute.
I just have to say that this is a tough choice because Soulless Jailer is so cute.
So cute.
What are you showing me? That's not cute.
That's Cacophony Scamp.
I do like that it's called Scamp, though.
It's just a cute shouting goblin.
He's just mad.
Yeah, I mean,
just a little
look at him
scamp.
more clearly on your screen. I think he's
Okay.
pretty happy. Actually.
All right. How do you spell this?
Oh, he's very cute.
CACOPH.
Cacophony. Cacophony. Scamp. Oh wait, I forgot to write scamp. Oh my god. Cacophony. Scamp. As previously mentioned, I need an Oreo. I don't find this guy cute, Rob.
Okay,
I'm sorry
fair.
to say.
Fair.
We have different tastes in men.
Yeah, I agree.
Cacophony Scamp, though, great name. Cute name. Soulless Jailer, very hard to choose between that and what I will have given the cutest card award to, Skrelv's Hive.
Not Skrull himself?
No.
Just the Hive?
Wow. Skrelv's Hive? I almost picked this as the grossest card.
That sounds about
It's
right.
happened before.
Yeah.
Look at this. This is disgusting. This is an infestation.
Yeah.
The babies. They're little baby mites.
Yeah, do you know what's more disgusting than one normal-sized mite? A bunch of tinier mites.
They're so cute.
I don't think Skrulv's a normal size mite. I think he's like the size of a rat.
Okay, that's even worse. Do you know what's worse than one rat-sized mite? A bunch of normal-sized mites.
Skrelv's Hive, congratulations.
Wow.
You are the cutest card.
Wow, this is an absolute injustice. This is
An
disgusting.
injustice. Oh my god.
I don't think that cutest card's about justice. I think it's about cuteness.
I think that the card should have to be cute and not absolutely horrifying.
Let's get Judy Justice on the case.
Judy Justice.
We'll be like, hey, we're coming in. We named cutest cards, and I said it's cute, and she says not cute. She'd be like, get out of my TV show.
How did you get into my courtroom?
Yeah. Well, thank you.
What are you doing here?
Judge Rob, for hanging out with us and doing cutest card, grossest card, and all of the cool fun facts about Phyrexia.
You're welcome.
I'm very excited to play this set. I think it looks super sweet.
I think it looks very sweet.
As always, if you've got additional questions about cards in this set, drop them in the YouTube comments.
I'll swing by. I usually swing by for like the week following.
Yeah. Rob's there to help us out.
Yep.
So say thanks to Rob while you're there too,
Yeah.
because this is a great thing that he does every set, and we can't thank him enough. Everybody, we want to say thank you to Ultra Pro for being our sponsor and always printing the best art on their playmats.
Yes. If you have seen some of the winter Secret Lair Super Drop, you know that there is an homage to Lisa Frank.
Yes.
It's amazing.
And Trapper Keepers.
Yes, the 90s binder collection. It is really incredible. And of course, Ultra Pro has your back with amazing playmats with that art.
Have you seen
How
this?
could you not want this
horse,
playmat?
This rainbow horse with the dolphins?
How could you not want this Crested Sunmare playmat?
It's incredible.
It is the 90s come to life again. It's really amazing. So thank you so much to our sponsor, Ultra Pro, for sponsoring us and for printing incredible playmats that we can play the game on.
Hey, if you want to buy this or anything like those, anything really on Ultra Pro's website, you can use the code GLHF at checkout for 5% off. If they're having a sale, use that code. You'll get 5% off on top of whatever sale is already happening. So save yourself some money and go back to the 90s in style with these beautiful playmats from Ultra Pro.
Really amazing.
Well, everybody, that's this episode of Good Luck High Five.
Yes.
Give yourself a round of applause for listening.
Please remember to tell us down in the comments what you think the 7th layer of a 7-layer bar is.
Yeah.
Or tweet at us with the hashtag 7-layer conspiracy.
Thank you to Card Kingdom and Ultra Pro for being great sponsors, and for Judge Rob, as always, for gracing us with his presence and his magnificent beard.
We hope that you head on out to your pre-release this weekend and that you have a really spectacular time. What a wonderful thing to be able to be back in and amongst our communities of players.
Absolutely.
So great.
So excited for this new set. Tweet your pictures of your sealed deck for us at GLHF Magic. We love to see them. Post them in the Good Luck High Five Discord.
Yes.
Talk about it if you're like, oh, what card should I cut or whatever. I'll be doing that. And if you need any help, you can check out our Discord for that as well.
Yeah. Yep, I'm done. Thank you. Wait. Thank you once again to Bo and Doug,
Bo and
our
Doug.
new patrons, and to all of our patrons. Please consider becoming a patron. Next episode could be yours.
It could be. Patreon.com/GLHF Magic is a place to go to join the Fam Bam Jam. Thank you, ma'am. And that's it. Yeah, we'll talk about the pre-release next
So
episode.
exciting.
Hopefully open up all the bomb rares.
Yeah.
You know?
Party on, man.
I have a good feeling about it.
Oh, all right.
Famous last words. Why did I even say it?
I don't know.
Cursed. Now it's cursed.